Hi everyone, I'm here with you today for another episode, if you'll call it, of our Doing It for the Dharma series, where I am interviewing inspiring women who are following their soul's calling. So today we have another special guest. We have Zoe, who will be here with me. Zoe is a YouTuber. She is running her own festival in Amsterdam and is getting up to a lot of amazing and inspiring things. So I really hope you enjoy my conversation with Zoe, and I'll see you next time with another inspiring woman. Hi everyone, I'm here today with another episode of Doing It for the Dharma, and I'm here with a very special guest, Zoe. Before we dive in, I would love to ask Zoe, what does Dharma mean to you?
Well, that's actually quite funny because I'm not so known with these terms, so I didn't, in its essence, I didn't know what Dharma is.
Yeah.
You just mentioned it's life purpose. So if that is the question, what does life purpose mean to me? I would say always trying to listen to my intuition, trying to listen to my gut, trying to listen to my soul in a way, and trying to stay in touch with that. And I think that can be really difficult, especially if you've been in a place where you were really in tune with it and you started projects from there, and then that became a normal thing, and then it's sort of also you have to keep checking in if that's still the path. Yeah. So I think it's always seeking for this balance, but that's what it means to me.
I love that, thank you. So like a continuous process of like over and over again readjusting to it.
Great. Exactly. That's why it's probably also just an eternal journey, right? Yeah. In a way. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Thank you. So now that you've answered that question, I would love to, if you could just allow yourself to introduce yourself to the audience and just tell us a little bit about you, who you are, and then we'll dive into exactly what you're doing.
All right. Well, I'm Zoe. I'm 31 years old. I now live in Hamburg, but I'm originally from the Netherlands. I just moved here 4 months ago, a whole new adventure on itself. And I am a full-time content creator, I would now say. I hate the word influencer, and I also more see it as running several platforms. It's not necessarily that I am the influencer. And I run a Dutch platform called Moderne Hippies, Moderne Hippies. We write about living a free, adventurous and conscious life, more conscious life. And we organize events in the Netherlands. And then a few years ago, I actually really wanted to create a more international platform. And that's when I also created a YouTube channel called Professional Wild Child.
Love it.
That's what you can mostly understand probably, that part. Yeah. And I mean, by now it's just really creating content to live a little bit more free, a little bit more wild, a little bit more adventurous, a little bit more conscious. Yes. And in the midst of it all, still trying to show that I'm also just a human being. Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for that. And I love that because Zoe and I actually met at one of my workshops. Was it a few weeks ago or months ago? And I don't really look into everyone who's coming to my workshops. I guess I kind of should, but it didn't work out that way. And it was really great to meet you there. And then afterwards I looked on your page and I was like, oh, this girl is seriously doing her own thing. I was like, wow, that's so impressive. So that was one of the main reasons that I wanted you on here, because I know that your story is very unique and quite inspiring. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. So you've mentioned a little bit about what you're doing already. I would like to know, when exactly did this journey start? Like you mentioned you're 31 now. Like when exactly did this all begin?
Well, I think I was about your age, really, really young.
24.
I was still doing my master's degree, and I was really in a lot of theory, a lot of dry theory. You know, I was writing my master's thesis, and I was just really completely not in my creative mode. And at the same time, I was really surrounded with people who all wanted to make the world a little bit better. And I really saw something there. I saw a little movement, and I just really wanted to bring these people together. And I actually wanted to do that by organizing an event. that was the main essence of it all. I just
Right.
thought like, I just want to do this. I really didn't have an intention of that this would be my job or that I would create a living out of it.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do it for fun, and I also just really missed doing something creative and with meaning, I guess, also. So then I just did it while I was doing my master's, and in summertime, just as a tryout, had this event, and it was really cute, really just like beginner phase, and
Right.
that was the start of it. And I was actually also just like, who am I to organize an event in Amsterdam? Amsterdam is quite big with events, and there's like a lot of hip things happening.
Right.
And then what does my event really entail? And then I started a website to be able to write about these brands and people that I met that inspired me, to also just already create a little movement on there, and to just create a little bit more awareness also for the event for later on. And that's actually by how I sort of by accident became a blogger.
Okay. Wow.
And just by writing about these people. I was also never the personal blogger, and which was really like in back then, you know, that people were really personally blogging. But it was really always more like a platform, more like an online magazine.
Okay.
It was also always just more like a collective, multiple, mostly women writing for it, and it was really a lifestyle. A lot of people could recognize themselves in it.
Right.
So all in all, it just grew slowly from there. I also just still traveled the world in between, and it was just I graduated in the middle of the crisis, so it was also just really, there was no job to be found, and I just did it just for fun.
Yeah.
And when I came back, there was still just no job to be found, and I thought, well, that actually worked quite well. And so a year later, I did it again, and I think around 2,000 people all of a sudden showed up.
Wow.
It really grew really fast and really organically.
Wow.
A lot of media picked it up, and it was really, I think just, by intuition, I guess, and just by seeing something, observing what was happening. I was a little bit like going with this trend of people all of a sudden realizing, where does my food actually come from? How are my clothes actually made? All these things really, it grew around 2011. It was really new still also back then. And then, then the blog also grew from there, and really all these topics were really like growing and growing.
Yeah.
And then actually to the point where I didn't really like it anymore to organize events. I was really like, that's not like mentally challenging enough for me.
Yeah.
And I actually really liked this online part, really writing and being able to tell a story and everything around it. So I really focused on online. And I actually quit with the events.
Okay.
Then later on, somebody else picked up the events, so I'm now doing that with a partner, basically.
Great. So you got more balance in that. Then.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly,
And you mentioned like you've gone over the events. I would love to know like exactly what was a part of this event, like what entailed throughout the whole event. Like, was there music, food, like what kind of?
Yeah, it was a bit like a mini festival. I always preferred to organize it in summertime back then. Now we actually do it more in wintertime, but with the summertime it's also, of course, immediately this free feeling.
Yeah.
But it was really a mixture of just a market, really like a little hippie market, but just not hippie to the extent of Ibiza hippie, that there's still products from China. I just really also they needed to be ethical or fair, so there's also still some confusion around it, but because for me it's sometimes that you have to pay a little bit more, but then at least you know it's ethically made, for example.
Yeah, so true.
So that's the market part, but we also had live music, we had workshops. Back then it was like the beginning of how to make raw chocolate, for example, or how to make natural deodorant.
I would have loved that.
I'd
love to go one year.
Yeah. So that was the essence of it all, and I mean, sometimes we still have this mini festival vibe, but now it's really more the market still, and we're trying to create this little mini festival vibe again in it all.
Beautiful. Yeah. So now that you've got a partner who you can co-run that with, which is great. So as you mentioned, that frees up a lot of your time. Yeah. Now you can move more into your kind of own blogging online platform. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How did that start? Where did it all come from? And where you are now, kind of thing?
Yeah, well, so the blogging just came to be, I guess. How a lot of things happen in life, in a way. It was just like, okay, this is now also what I do. The blog grew so much in popularity in a way that I could make it a living, partially because I was with the media agency that they like created all kind of collaborations for me that also fit with me and my target group. So that was also perfect. And then I also started freelancing, and I also started writing for other platforms. There's a big trend for brands these days that they also have sort of blogger platforms. So I also sometimes have assignments for travel agencies or travel brands or whatever in it. And then in 2016 I always had the desire to, because I travel so often and I lived abroad so often, that I really thought like the Netherlands is really keeping me back a bit in who I am, and I really feel like a global citizen more than a really like a Dutchie. So then I thought, okay, maybe I can make the website bilingual, although that was a whole job on itself, and it was really like, my website is called, like, it has a Dutch name. It's really known in the Netherlands, but it was really hard to now all of a sudden make it an international thing. And then I discovered this whole YouTube trend in a way, and I was really like, what is this about? I really thought, like, I'm getting old now, because it was really a thing back then that I thought, okay, the younger generation follows all kinds of YouTubers, and I had no clue. I really never watched a YouTuber or YouTube in general like that. And I thought it was really interesting. And the funny thing was that I was always, ever since I was 12, vlogging in a way in my personal life. And I was always just very used to I really love documenting. And I just think it's a very magical thing in a way to be able to document just the moment that happens now. So I was really natural in front of the camera. I really just thought it was a normal thing. And then I thought, oh, okay, so I can also just do something with this. So then this whole transition happened, that I sort of had the same mission, but then wanted to transform them in video form, and then make it, of course, a bit more personal, because it's me and my face all the time. And then I started with the Professional Wild Child. So now it's also just really a mixture still of all these things. I still sometimes have assignments that I need to make an article, but then also a video, and it's a completely different target group. But actually the mixture is kind of nice also in a way.
For sure. It definitely keeps things interesting, right? So I think like having the same thing over and over again is just what drives me crazy. So absolutely. And but at the same time, it's also a bit like social media is running so fast that it's also difficult. I mean, in a way, it's really nice to have multiple platforms by now, but you can also just every half a year start with something new, like now you should invest more in IGTV or make a podcast, you know, like it's always something new. So it's really like, especially in this case, listening to your intuition, like, okay, what platform suits me best and my message is best. Trying to listen to that. That's great. Thank you. And you just mentioned that, like, listening to your intuition to kind of guide you through this process. Are there like any practices that you do to try and stay in tune with your intuition?
Oh, that's a good question. Practices that I do. Well, in general, I journal quite a lot. I also have a little new moon ritual here and there.
And what is that?
Where I just, I just write down what I want to let go of and what my new intentions are. I think that definitely helps. Whether you believe in the moon or not, it's just like a nice ritual to just become aware. I think I'm just, in general, in my personality, it's definitely a thing that I really am a feeling kind of person. I'm just highly sensitive, so it's sort of hard for me to deny the feelings that I'm going through and just like what feels good at the end of the day or not.
What is your sun sign, by the way?
My what?
Your like star sign?
My star sign? I'm a Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, that makes sense. Very like hardworking. That's very like CEO vibes. Like you are your own boss, literally. So that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, that's true.
Interesting. And what about your moon? Your moon sign?
Yeah, oh god. So I'm a double Capricorn.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so that's quite intense. Yeah. My boyfriend is also a Capricorn, so that's double intense.
That's a lot of Capricorn energy.
And then my moon sign is, what is it in English?
Is it Cancer, the crab? No.
No, it's damn it, it's like the one in May.
In May, okay. January, February, April, Aries. May is Taurus.
Is it Taurus? Yeah, Taurus.
Yeah. Taurus.
Also Earth.
Okay.
Sign.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. What does that say?
Nice.
You can maybe probably tell me more about that.
Like, to be honest, I don't know a whole bunch about the Taurus sign, but I think it is like quite similar to Cancer, like very in tune with our emotions, like very connected by their emotions. That's probably all I can tell you. I don't know that much about that sign, but cool.
that would make sense.
Okay.
Maybe sometimes a bit too much in their emotions, even.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely. What are you?
I am Gemini in Sun. So love communication and talking and multitasking. Yeah. And I'm Sagittarius in Moon, which also Sagittarius loves to travel and is quite hardworking and that kind of thing. Okay. So nice. Cool. Well, we went a little bit off topic. Yeah. That's okay. Okay, so you've talked a little bit about how sometimes you have to keep like on top of the trends in social media. Everything's changing. Are there any other kind of like challenges that you've faced along the way towards getting to where you are now?
Yeah, definitely. Of course, like anybody, I guess. I had an intern actually the last month here, and that really made me aware of the challenges of the last 6 years, I guess, 7 years. I think one of the main challenges in the total beginning was actually identifying too much with what I began, with what I started. Okay. So especially with my Dutch platform, as soon as people started criticizing articles or the events or something about it, I took it personally.
Sure.
So I think when you just start off, it's really difficult because it's so you in a way, like you're meant to do this. If you're like checking in with that, but at the same time, then you take it so personally, like it's really an attack on you, although that's completely false, of course. So I really had to learn to keep a neutral vibe in it all, in a way, like everything extremely positive and extremely negative doesn't touch me anymore.
Very Buddhist.
But it's I guess it's just that's really the way to do this, especially because so many people are involved and so many people have an opinion about you, whether it's like completely like you're amazing or like you just like really suck. Nothing really touches me anymore.
That's great.
Not that I am like completely numb for it, of course, but you just it doesn't matter so much at the end of the day, and it tells more about them than about me. But that's definitely one of the challenges that I really had to learn, and I was really just young in. And I think in general will always stay a challenge to not identify too much with what you do.
And how did you get to that point? Because obviously that's like a huge jump, right? From being like super effective to now at this place of neutrality where it's like okay, you're not going to take it personally. What happened in between? Was it something that you like consciously decided to do? Like how did you work up to this point?
I think in the beginning it just happened because I took it personally, so I really went through struggles, and I really was like, oh damn, that's really demotivating, and this and that. Or just when it was super positive, that it was really just like a boost for your ego, and it was really temporary, of course. So both ways isn't healthy. I think for me, just really, the 4 Agreements, I don't know, do you know that book?
I love that book.
So that was really like an eye-opener in my way of thinking also. And
for sure.
That
That's like
really
rule
helped.
1 as well, right? Do not take anything personally.
Exactly.
That
really helped, and it was really like I could really recognize it and really resonate with it, that I was really like, okay, of course, that totally makes sense also in my working field. And especially on YouTube, you're so personally like, or you're so personal.
You're like so vulnerable. Like this is me. This is it.
Of course. So then it's an extra challenge to also at the same time not identify with it. In a way, I really like it to be mirrored by your viewers. They sometimes see things earlier than you. That's really very cool for your self-growth, I think. But at the same time, it can also just be super confronting. It's also a healthy way of therapy. But I think reading that book just really challenged or changed my mindset, and just by trial and error, just getting to know how this actually works.
And that in itself is like a spiritual practice, right? Like
Yeah.
being able to disattach from like other
Yeah.
people, like whether like
Yeah.
you're a YouTuber or not, like whether you're out there to the world or not, this is something that we can all really
Yeah.
take on board,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Yeah.
think especially as women, we're kind of almost conditioned to be like pleasing other people, like put everyone else first, do all that first, and then that almost triggers this immediate response of, okay, then it matters how that other person reacts.
Feels.
So
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think
that's true.
such a great lesson for
Yeah.
everyone, like not just in whatever field that you do. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Good one.
You mentioned also that you've had an intern that I was so curious about. You mentioned this the other day. I'm like, oh, what is the internship for? So can you tell us a little bit about that?
What did the intern do?
Yeah,
you mean?
like what was your intern for? Like what are you training her or him for?
Well, she just mostly just really was very curious what my day-to-day life looked like. I mean, a lot of people just really don't get that I just also work every day.
Yeah.
And that a lot of it is actually still just behind the laptop, making articles, writing, editing photos, editing videos, making scripts, coming up with new ideas, but also just meetings all the time. I work with an editor for my website in the Netherlands. I work with a partner for the events. I still do some little freelance thingies, so there's a lot of contact with other people. A lot of collaborations behind the scenes that you have to have contact about and everything around it. So the number one question, I think what I get mostly is just like, how can you make a living out of this? Like, how do you make money with this? And she just needed to do a creative internship. I think she just mostly also wants to become a full-time content creator one day. She has a blog. She wanted to start a YouTube channel, so she just wanted to go along a bit with it, like how I do things and how I look at things, or what I experienced also in the last years. So she just helped me also with optimizing my YouTube channel and with Pinterest and Instagram, all the little things that I don't even get to anymore these days. And at the same time also just try to upgrade her own game in it all.
That's really cool. Because I saw a little on Instagram, you guys doing yoga together.
I'm
like, oh, that looks pretty awesome.
Well, of course, that's also the nice thing in a way, that I just I don't believe in the 9 to 5 rhythm, or at least not for myself. It can definitely be good for anybody else, but my rhythm is just not made for that. I feel very much trapped when I have a job like that, and I'm not a morning person. Also, I can be very productive in the evenings, for example. So I just also could show her, like, sometimes my day just starts at 11, but then I work till 8, or I have a break in the afternoon and I still work for 4 to 5 hours in the evenings. For me, it's just more about this flexibility and working with my own energy when my energy is right. If my energy is low and I really need to take a nap because I don't know what is going on, then I can do it. And I can still be just as productive right after. And just like the yoga sessions in between, like we sit so much, of course. So I also just wanted to take her along. Like, it's really good to move every day, and let's do a daily walk together and have a little yoga session in between. I mean, she wouldn't get that probably when she would work at a bank doing an internship there.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
Maybe at Google, like the trendy companies have that.
Probably
though.
at Google. That's so cool. And you mentioned a little bit already about like how you've got so many projects going on, like there's not really much structure. So how do you balance out like your Dharma, aka what you're doing now, with your relationships, with your social life, with your self-care? Like, how does that all kind of come into play in your routine?
That's a very good question. I think that's overall a big challenge for me, because in a way I want to be unstructured, but it's also definitely like it doesn't help so much. So for me, what really helps is just to create rules in my own freedom. So still at the same time, if I prefer to work or start working at 11, I just make sure that I do that every day. And for me, it also definitely helps to say that on Monday is my writing day, on Tuesday is my video day, on Wednesday is my editing day, that I just have a sort of structure, because otherwise I can't get anything done, or I just do everything all over the place. So just creating my own structure and my own freedom, that definitely helps, and keeping a lot of to-do lists. Journaling again, and just like seeing what I need to do. But of course, that's what you mean with Dharma. It's just, you can also just be completely in like the rushing mode and forget what you're actually here to do. what helps for me, like for example, the other day I had you also give Reiki, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I had it for the second time,
Nice.
and this girl also then combines it with doing your business in alignment with your energy.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So those things I noticed that really helps for me. That I just again try to come back to my own energy and what I'm here to do.
Wow.
And of course all the daily hassle kind of thingies are just there, but at the end of the day I just need to be aware, like, okay, but what is it that I actually need to do, want to do, and then prioritize that more.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I would love to hear about, I know you mentioned a little bit already about going for walks in nature and the yoga.
Yeah.
But are there any other self-care practices that you like to do, not necessarily daily, but you try and include in your week just to keep you grounded and level?
I think just taking good care of myself by eating healthy. Very cliche, but so necessary and still pretty hard sometimes to do.
Yes. Especially if you're working so much on projects.
Yeah.
Like it can be hard. You
Yeah.
have to block out the time to
Yeah.
like, okay, now I'm going to cook a nice meal
Yeah,
and do this.
yeah. In a way, it's so simple, but also so hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely yoga, absolutely. Especially here, living in a new city, helped me ground big time. For me, dancing is really healing. I've danced my whole life basically, and for now I'm just doing it in the living room nonstop. You can also see it all the time on Instagram.
That's great.
That releases a lot of tension, and I can just completely forget about the world for a moment and just be completely myself.
Yeah.
So that really helps. But also just like taking a bath, going to the sauna, just like relaxing, unwinding, not being online actually, not being connected like this, but just connecting with myself.
Yeah.
That also helps. Yeah, and I think just really basic things like walking in the forest, walking in the park. I love dogs.
Yeah,
just
I saw
like
you have a dog, right?
Yeah, no, my sister has a dog,
Okay.
but I'm completely
So cute.
in love with her. So, and when I'm in the Netherlands, I always dog sit. So then it's just my lifestyle is a bit too all over the place to have a dog for now.
Yeah,
but it would
true.
definitely be very healthy for me to ground.
Yeah.
Also. Yeah.
Because it just brings so much like positive energy and
Yeah.
love, right? You just never really feel sad if you've got an animal in the room.
Yeah. And it makes you also, in a way, a dog makes you structured again.
take them for
and you need to
walks,
go
feed
out,
them,
you need to move. It also forces you to do certain things, and I think that's also kind of good sometimes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you. So thank you so much for like sharing all about your life and what you've been up to so far.
Yeah, sure.
I would love to know what your plans are for the next 5 or so years. I know that's like a cliche question. Maybe you haven't thought about it, but I'm just curious, like, what is the next step
The
for
next
you and
5
your Dharma?
years.
And you have a little bug in your head. So
Oh, nice.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Be in tune with nature.
Love it.
The next 5 years. Well, I really suck at that question always. I think
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is just to always listen to myself. The upcoming 5 years still. Like I think especially this age, I'm now 31, so you come up with a lot of questions about the upcoming like 20 years even. Like I'm more in my head than I was the last 10 years because all of a sudden you're like, okay, wait, do I actually need to do this and that? It's way more, for me it's way more a vital topic right now than it was 6 years ago. So I think even more staying in tune with myself. I really love what I do, so I won't necessarily say that I want to do something completely different, but maybe just in line with what I already do. Creating different projects, whether it's really like writing a book finally. I know that a lot of people are waiting for it.
Great,
but that's definitely a project on itself that I also just, I have a deep desire to do it, but then again, I am also just really trying to stay in tune with what I want to create right now instead of what I did the last 7 years.
Right, not like forcing anything.
Yeah. And I really have a deeper need to just go out in public more. I've been so much online, and I really like to connect more. And I used to give workshops, for example, and well, you know what it's like. I think that's really an amazing way to connect. Especially in these days, I think the combination of online, offline can just be very beautiful. And I think I should also just go in that path a tiny bit more from now on.
Yeah, That would be awesome. I can definitely see you doing workshops. Like literally, that's how I've made all of my friends, just through like yoga classes and then workshops. You just meet such amazing women who are like in line with what you're putting out there. So
you meet your tribe
cool.
already. Also.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's really nice.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
And I would love to know, and for the lovely audience as well, what advice would you give to women who know what they want to do deep down, but they're just afraid to take that jump? Have you got anything to offer this topic?
Don't think too much, I would say.
Yeah.
Being afraid is so like, in a way we can all be afraid and stay in the fear. That really means that we're too much in our heads. And just really trying to sink in with this feeling. Like, okay, if this is what you want to do, what is holding you back? The main thing that I'm asked, like, how did you do it, is just do it. Just start doing it. So it was really also with my website, it just looked terrible, like the first months. Oh my god. And also my first videos, when you look at it now, I think that's also a big part. You shouldn't want to be a perfectionist. Like just let go of what other people think and what even you yourself think too often. I think my main thing was that I just always put things live, although I wasn't never like 100% happy with it. I was just like, I can at least just try it and see what it does. Because in the message, I still stand behind the message, and I can always just become better from there and trying to upgrade my skills from there. And I think that's in its essence how everybody can just always begin. You can always just try.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that, because it's so true. Like, if you wait for the perfect moment, it's never going to happen.
It's never there.
It's never a perfect moment.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Just do it. I really, really love that.
Yeah.
So thank you.
It's the same as when people say, like, I have to find the right moment to say this or that. It's never the right moment. You can always just say it when you want to.
Yeah, it's just like this form of like mental procrastination.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So true. Well, thank you. That's really great advice. So hopefully that helps, ladies. Just do it.
Yes, just do it.
So we're coming towards the end of the interview now. So I thought it would be kind of cool to just ask some like random like fire questions.
Okay.
Like, don't really think too much, and we'll just see what comes out. Just a little like fun thing to do.
Okay.
So maybe some of them are cliche, by the way, but there we go. So we'll begin with a super cliche one. So if you could be any animal in the world, what would you be and why?
Ooh. Oh my god, I never got that question. What would I be and why? What would I be and why? Can you just cut my thinking a moment here?
Come on, fire question.
Yeah, fire question.
Fire
Jesus.
question, no
I know.
thinking.
No thinking.
First thing that comes to head.
First thing that comes to head. Yeah, then I'm now saying dog, I guess,
dog.
but that's mostly because you just have this deep connection,
Yeah,
and they feel emotions. But what I don't like so much is that they only do things at the end for food. But that's also what we do, I guess, at the end of the day.
Food, sex, and money. That's it.
Yeah.
We're no worse than dogs. Literally.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful. Yeah. Thank you, dog. Very cute dog. Okay. If you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
I would. How do you say that in English? My English is.
Your English is great. You can just describe it and maybe I'll.
Yeah, that I do like this and that I'm just already where I need to be.
Teleporting.
That would be so handy and so good for the environment.
I love it. It's great.
It saves so much time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, who knows? Maybe we're not that far away from science.
Yeah.
Like, there's multiple realities. So maybe we can just be in one.
Yeah.
Super. Okay, cool. And you mentioned earlier that you've like traveled, lived in heaps of countries. So what is your favorite? I know that's hard as well, but what is your like favorite city in the world and
Cape
why?
Town.
Yeah.
It's really not difficult for me.
Yeah.
That's very quick. Yeah, that's
beautiful.
I lived there, and my in a way my soul belongs there. I would say I'm so in tune there with the energy, with the vibe. Of course, it has a terrible history, and it really goes through a lot of struggles still. But just somehow this energy there is just so I love it there. I really love it there. And I think it's also just the combination of having this vibrant urban city but still being in the middle of nature, being able to climb up a mountain or being able to swim in the sea. You just really have the best of both worlds there. And I really love that. And people are really in tune with nature there. That's what I really love. We are a little bit lost here sometimes, I think. little bit.
Just a tad. Beautiful. And what is your favorite food and why? Another hard one, I know. They're like so simple, but actually like so hard.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, everything healthy is my favorite food right now. I'm just in love with fruits and veggies. And Italian. But that would be more my guilty pleasure.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Pizza or pasta?
Pasta.
Pasta.
Yeah.
Nice. Sounds good. And I'm not sure if you're into crystals.
I have them at home. I don't know so many about it. I think the rose quartz. Love.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Just that nice like compassion, energy, self-love, love for others. Yeah. That's great.
And the white one, the
quartz, selenite, moonstone,
which helps you ground.
Oh, white one which helps you ground.
Yeah.
Oh.
In Dutch, I would say bergkristal. You can put it in the subtitles what it is.
Okay, yeah, I'm not too sure what one that might be.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I'll have a little look later on.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you so much for answering these fire questions and the whole interview. So could you just please tell the audience where they can find you, like just your social media handles and whatnot? That would be awesome.
Yes. So my YouTube channel is called Professional Wild Child. My Instagram also Professional Wild Child. And other than that, for the Dutchies, my platform is called Moderne Hippies. Also can be found on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Zoe, for your time. It's been so much fun to do this with you in nature and this beautiful scenery as well, right? So thank you. I hope you guys have enjoyed this interview and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ciao.